If you've ever been thinking about starting a YouTube channel and you're over the age of 40, this video's for you. Now, I'm 45, just about. I'll be 45 in a couple of weeks, and I've been doing YouTube for a while. But I've ended up in a lot of conversations with people my age and older about YouTube and talking about bringing their areas of expertise to the platform or to social media. And I think we end up in a place where we have enough lived experience, we have our way of doing things in a way that we've worked out and think works best, and we want to share that with others. But there's a lot of apprehensions and things that we build up, fears and different lived experiences that we let color our abilities or inabilities, and we put up these barriers in place. So I wanted to make this video because it's 2025, and if you have something that you need to share, that you feel like you need to share, it's time for you to just do it and get over the fact that there are things that we have in our minds and things that we build up, frustrations and whatever, but the biggest thing that you're going to be upset with is when you're 5 years from now and you haven't even started on whatever it is, or maybe even a year from now. We want to get past that. And so I want to give you some things to consider as to why you should start now, especially if you are over the age of 40, you have some years behind you like me, and you really want to try this, but you have some fears and apprehensions. So the first reason why I think now is the perfect time for you to start is that you have a unique advantage starting later in life. And the reason for that is that you have decades of accumulated knowledge and experience. I mean, even if the topic that you want to bring to YouTube isn't something that you've been doing for decades, you have decades of being around, trying things, failing, and whatever that path was that got you to where you started. For example, say you got your real estate license in your late 30s and now you're in your mid 40s and you're doing really well as a real estate agent. So well that you want to bring some of that knowledge to the internet. Well, you might be thinking, I don't have decades of experience as a real estate agent, so who am I, only 5 years or 6 or whatever years into my real estate career, am I to bring a bunch of knowledge or try to be a thought leader in this space? Well, you have all of your experience that led up as to why you made a career change in your late 30s to become a real estate agent. And then what you've done over those last several years to make yourself as a profitable, successful real estate agent. And so all of that is a lived experience that somebody else can't match. Say somebody who's much younger, who has the same amount of time as a real estate agent as you, but it was their first career. They don't have the things that would come before that they can use as part of their experience. Like for me, I have my lived experience and it's different than yours, but we can learn from each other. And when we learn from each other, we can see things that we wouldn't have been able to see unless we were able to experience them firsthand. And you can't experience everything possible firsthand. There just isn't enough time for that. And it's also not a sustainable way to move forward and reach goals. Being that we're older, we also have a better understanding of who our target audience is. We can't speak to everybody. We know that. And so you hone in on who you actually can speak to, which person is in the same boat as you or experiencing the same things that you experienced, and being a few steps behind you could benefit from this information. I know that not everybody likes my style. Not everybody wants to listen to me. Sometimes I get those types of comments where, you talk too much or whatever. But there are groups of people that really connect with the things that I have to say. And I have YouTubers and other influencers and whatever you want to call them, authors that write books, people that speak in a certain way that connects with me. And that's just the nature of this shared human experience. We don't connect with all of the same people. We don't connect the same way. And that's what's cool and unique about this experience, is that everybody's different and everybody connects with different topics, with different ideas, with different mindsets. And all that to say, there's an audience out there that would connect with exactly your style. So let's talk a little bit about the mental barriers that come into play, because making YouTube videos is putting yourself out there. Honestly, I thought about making this video a few years ago, but I didn't because I still didn't feel like I was the right person to be talking about this stuff. But as I get more questions and more questions, I realize if I'm not putting out this video with my take on things, with my opinion on things, then there's a gap. And that's the same thing that will happen if you don't put things out there as well. So obviously there's this myth of I'm too old to start and it's going to take too much time. And so we look at that as a limiting factor. But all the while we're watching other content creators add thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers in a small period of time with only a small amount of uploads. uploads. It's very possible to build a huge audience, but that's not really the goal. You see, I have a decent sized audience, but it's not huge, but I have a lot of people that I connect with through the different ways that I communicate online. And because my information is more personal, I connect with people at a deeper level. Now, you might also have a fear of judgment or being judged by others. And my advice would be that anytime we put ourselves out there, we try something new, there is an opportunity for people to give us their opinions. And on YouTube, there's the comment section, which can be quite scary. You go into the comment section and people can be brutal depending on the video topic. But over the many years that I've been making YouTube videos, I can count on my hands a small amount of times where I've had some really negative comments. Most of the comments that I get are very positive, and there are a lot of great people out there, a lot of good people who have either their own insights that they want to share, are very encouraging, are very grateful and thankful for the information. It's very seldom that I come across really negative comments. And when they do come, you can see through those comments. You can see the hurt that the person's feeling. You can see the pain that they're probably experiencing and why they needed to throw that in my direction. And so it's very easy for me to brush stuff off like that because it's not a comment, a negative comment that's really based on anything that I did or said. It's just an attack that came out of nowhere. And we can easily get those driving down the road. We also might find ourselves waiting for the perfect moment that's never going to arrive. There's no perfect moment. I remembered thinking this along with my wife when we were going to decide to start having kids. Let's wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. You can be as prepared as possible and end up being totally blindsided by things that you just didn't see. It is important to be prepared and to think through things ahead of time, but there's no way to be completely prepared for anything. And there's no better way to learn than by doing. There are some freedoms for creating over the age of 40, and I would say that I am definitely less self-conscious about appearance and perception than I used to be. You see, when we put ourselves out there, we want to be as dialed in as possible. We want to have everything looking good and whatnot. And I mean, if you look around the scene in my room here, there's stuff everywhere. I try to be organized. I put things away, and then I have a job and they have to come out and I don't get them put away. And those things could be a barrier to me sitting down and making a video like this. It is kind of a distracting environment behind me, but it's a barrier if I wait until the moments are perfect, until I have everything organized. Because the moment that everything's organized, I'm going to need to use something and it's going to become disorganized again. I may even try and get all of my thoughts together, and I might have them all organized. Like for this video, I have all of my thoughts organized. But as I sit down and talk, things just don't come out right, or I start talking about something else. And so you can't wait until everything is perfect. It's better to put things out there and make them conversational. I like conversational because it feels like we're sitting down and talking, and it's also not easy for me to just sit there and follow the script. Doesn't work that well for my brain. I'm also not interested in chasing trends. I mean, there's all sorts of content trends and things that are out, and I'm just not interested in chasing them. And that comes with age. When you're young, the new cool things, you're on board with all of them. As you get older, you just don't really care about those things anymore. And so it makes it easier for you to be consistent because you're not constantly chasing the newest thing. I also don't have the pressure of like making it big because this is not a career move for me. In making YouTube content, I'm more interested in transferring my knowledge and experience to other people and making that available. I'm not going to create content that's driven towards trying to get followers or trying to get better numbers. I want to convey information and share things more so than make it big or make a living from YouTube. It would be great if I could do those things, but they're not going to be the driving factor. And I can do that because I have a business. I have the business that I run, and this is stuff that I do on the side to pour back into the community. So let's look at some common excuses and why they don't really matter. The first is, I don't have any professional equipment. Well, these days your iPhone is professional equipment. Your smartphone with its camera and microphone will do a fantastic job, better than the things that I started out with, better than the first professional equipment that I started out with. And so with that, that is not a valid excuse as to whether or not you have something that you can use. We all have modern enough smartphones to capture and create YouTube content. And then if you start building some momentum, you could start looking at improving the equipment that you have. The next thing is, I'm not tech savvy enough. Well, the internet has never been easier to use. There are tons of tutorials and videos and courses and things that are out there that will get you over the technical slump. Not being tech savvy enough is not an excuse. I'm sure that you have a friend or perhaps somebody in your family that is tech savvy enough that can help you get set up and get things running. Another one would be that the market is oversaturated with that type of information that you want to talk about. And while there is an oversaturation of information, there is not an oversaturation of information delivered by you in the way that you would deliver it with your knowledge and your lived experience. Because of that, there's a unique perspective that you bring that other people don't. And even if it is an oversaturated, topic or whatever, which means it might be a little bit more challenging for you to have the massive audience and own that entire topic, you will find people that connect with you and connect with your experience and with your delivery method. It will happen because the internet's a huge place. And YouTube is definitely not that oversaturated when you look at the amount of videos on a certain topic being produced against the amount of people that there are in the world. I can't commit to a regular schedule. Well, if you look at my upload schedule or release schedule over the entire time I've been making YouTube videos, it can't even be called a schedule. It's just a history, and it's sporadic. Videos all over the place. Sometimes 3 in a week, sometimes 1 in a month, sometimes several months without videos. And on this particular channel, I haven't even uploaded in a year. And so consistency is important, but don't let it be a stumbling block to getting started. You don't need to upload to a regular schedule. Perhaps once you have some momentum and things have been moving further along, you have a follower base, and you figured out how to implement creating YouTube content into your life, then you can think about, okay, well, how do I get on a regular schedule now? But don't feel like you have to start out with that. That's just going to be a stumbling block to you getting started. Getting started imperfectly is better than not starting at all. And that is something that I'm trying to make sure I keep doing in my life. As long as I have a good understanding of something, I'm going to put it out there, even if I'm not ready to put it out there in a perfectly organized and coiffed way where I feel like everything has been thought of. I would rather put the information or the idea or the thought out there and start generating community and ideas and thought around it than letting it sit and slowly die on a page in my journal or in the back of my head. Let's talk about the cost of not sharing your experience on YouTube. Now, there's the regret of unexplored possibilities. Obviously, we can regret things that we didn't do that we feel like we should have done. There's your knowledge and experience left unshared. I mean, we've all ended up in conversations with people where we start sharing some of our experience and they're like, wow, that was insightful, or that was really interesting, or I didn't know that. There's the big world of the internet that also is waiting for your shared experience. And so you need to realize the impact that you could have on others, or that you could have had on others if you had just started sharing your experience. There's personal growth opportunities that you may have missed. Every time I have to take something and turn it into a video, I have to think about it differently. I can have ideas in my head and thoughts and understanding in my head, but when I have to turn that into words and into a coherent statement for other people to consume, I have to really think through things, and I have to better understand, which sometimes means going back and learning more about something so that I can talk about it. So let's talk about getting started practical steps. Start with what you have. We talked earlier about the iPhone or just a phone being perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. Start with what you have. Don't let things get in your way. Focus on your area of expertise first, or on the journey of starting something new. Don't overthink the technical aspects. It's easy to get caught up on all of those things, like shutter speeds and frame rates and other camera-related things, or audio levels and different stuff like that. Just turn your phone or camera on and start recording, and then go back and look at things that can be improved. Set realistic, manageable goals. We talked earlier about maybe not being able to commit to a schedule. That's fine. Commit to making your first video, and then commit to making your second video. Set realistic goals until you have some momentum, and when you have that momentum, then you can start to structure that momentum to maintain its sustainability. Give yourself permission to learn as you go. Don't feel like you have to know everything up front. With that permission to learn as you go, you can start, and then as you start and experience new things you're learning, might require you to go and take a course or look at some other YouTube videos to learn more and accumulate more knowledge, and all of that is going to build build a better YouTube video for you every time you create a new one. I mentioned sustainability. Let's talk about a sustainable approach to content creation. Build at your own pace. Make videos at your own pace, what works for you. Work on finding your authentic voice, and that comes with just making content. We feel like, oh, we've got to find our voice. I have to know what I want to talk about and how I'm going to talk about it and how funny should I be and should I be more serious or whatever. Like, trying to find our voice comes by having conversations. When we meet somebody new, we start talking with them and you know, we want to match their energy, they want to match our energy. And all of our friends, if you think of your individual friends, you're a little bit different with each of those people because they're a little bit different as well. And so finding your voice is something that comes with time. It's not something that you're going to be able to do ahead of time. You just need to start making content. And as you start having conversations with people in the comments or connecting with people, you will understand more about what they're connecting with. Maybe some videos will do well while others don't. And so you'll understand more of the topics that people seem to be connecting with. And through that, you'll be building your authentic voice. Create content that energizes you and makes you excited. If you're making content because you think it's going to get a lot of views, you're probably going to burn out. And around the beginning of every year, we get all of the different videos from lots of YouTube creators talking about how they burned out and how it's going to be different this year. When we talk about things that excite us, we can talk about them for a long time without getting burned out. Balance YouTube with your other responsibilities. You probably have other things that you're doing. I have a business that I run. I have a family. I have a lot of things that I do. And so I have to balance YouTube with that. I'm looking for ways to improve my process and make things faster so that I can make my YouTube content, but not have it become my full-time job. And these days I'm looking for consistency over perfection. I know that this video could have been edited better, the cuts could have been cleaner, and all of those things, but I would rather get the information out there than wait until I have an opportunity to make it perfect. Now is the perfect time to start your YouTube channel because YouTube's demographics have never been wider. There's never been more people watching YouTube content and looking at YouTube content than ever before. And so that means that there's never been a bigger potential audience for you. There's a growing demand for experienced voices because people are getting tired of the inexperienced voices who are just making noise. People are valuing authenticity over production quality, which is great because that means you don't have to have the top-notch, best equipment that's out there. They want authenticity over production quality. Technology has made it easier than ever, and you may not think so, but the community is waiting for your unique perspective. So like anything, the best time to start on something new was yesterday. So you should start today. Start by filming a video. You don't have to upload it directly to YouTube. You could text message it to a couple of trusted friends. Let your spouse watch it. Let somebody watch it that can provide you feedback, and let them know that you're not looking for perfection. You're looking to just get started, and give them the ability to give you some feedback, but let them know what your expectations are as well. I'd like to challenge you to create a video and upload it before the end of January. It's highly doable. You could probably get it done before the end of the week if you really made it a priority. I want to remind you that perfection is the enemy of progress. If you look for perfection, you're never going to get started. I highly recommend starting on the journey regardless of knowing what the outcome is. When we challenge ourselves to do things, not knowing whether or not we can complete the challenge, we're building resilience, we're learning a lot about ourselves, we're building momentum, and even if we have any setbacks, the next time we start again, it's going to be much easier. So are you over 40 and considering starting YouTube? What are your apprehensions and the things that you've been telling yourself? Let's talk about those down in the comment section below. I want to be an encouragement to you getting started, because if you not only found this video but watched it all the way through, you definitely have something that you're passionate about that you want to get out there, and I want to make sure that that happens. So if you want to join me on my journey, make sure to click that subscribe button. You can also head over to my Substack where I occasionally write and send out a newsletter, and subscribe to that. That's also a great way to support me. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back in another one soon. Take care.